Hello and welcome to the Random Thought Show. My name's Jacob Tober.
And my name's Darren McInnes. On the show we talk about anything and everything in fitness, high performance and health.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Random Thought Show.
Hey guys, how you going?
I'd like to start with an apology for my terrible placebo example of growing taller. There is no placebo to grow taller. That is a lie. I should have used the caffeine example, which you saved me on. Thank you very much, Darren. Poor form. And I believe it was that last episode I was listening to this morning. I was like, oh, Jacob, what are you doing?
Well, look, I mean, we've all got strengths and weaknesses, and your analogy game, you know, you're here to sometimes corral my crazy analogies, but yours is, you know, you've got a lot of other things that you're very, very good at.
I'm good at making analogies that just don't work. I feel like my analogies are more punchlines than they are analogies. Accidental, though. I don't mean that. I'll try better, I promise. You had some follow-up from the last one as well.
Yeah, I did.
You want something going to clarify in earnest?
Yes. So a couple of things last time. In terms of getting at it, we're talking about the hacks for getting in shape, and one of the biggest things is that morning cardio, morning exercise in general.
And listening back to it, there's more hacks outside the gym that were important there. It was like those sort of little, like it's setting up the other stuff around your gym and your nutrition that are really important as well.
Yeah, and then some of the hack, you know, the old hack of 90% of success is just showing up.
Yeah.
Like it's just doing the thing is a big part of it.
Put in the work.
And so with that in mind, one of the bigger ones I think is we're talking about all the complexities of the suprachiasmatic nucleus and all that stuff.
Which is your internal body clock for those who are just jumping in today.
You should definitely go back and listen to the last one though. I think it's well worth listening for every human.
All humans, yeah, for sure.
But what I didn't mention is, and it seems bleedingly obvious, get up at the same time every day.
Yeah, we talked about going to bed at the same time. We talked about blue light in the morning,
Yeah.
but we didn't talk about consistency of rhythm.
Yeah, getting up at the same time, super, super critical. And a part of getting up at the same time is not being a snoozer. So a lot of people, alarm goes off at 7 and snooze, 7:10, snooze, 7:20. And it's just, to me, that's the craziest thing because you're actually not getting any deep cycle sleep. You're not getting any benefit. All you're getting is just deferring the start to the day.
You're procrastinating on the cold weather, potentially.
Yeah. But I think
what blows my mind about those people is those people who don't have to get up till 7, so they set 4 alarms from 6:20. It's like, you've got to sleep in.
Yes,
Use it.
Like, get that sleep.
No,
Yeah.
I won't wake up on the first alarm. It's like, that's a habit. That is a poor habit, that is.
And so to fix that, so if you are a snoozer and you want to rehab yourself, I think you need to understand that the hardest part about getting up often is the differential between how cozy and warm you are under the doona.
Bed is a good place.
That is nice, and how cold it is when you get up. So what you want to do is you want to give yourself the minimum opportunity to notice and dwell on that differential.
On the coziness.
Yeah.
Don't embrace the coziness.
Yeah.
Fight against it.
And so the only way is alarm goes off at 7, you grab the doona, all sheets, and you pull it off. So you're lying there on the bed with no covering, feeling cold.
Yep.
You don't have to get up straight away. That's
you
fine.
can lie there shivering for as long as you like. Now you can do your snoozing.
But because if you just jump out of bed, you might fall over. Like, take your time. Wait, give yourself 30 seconds. But that you just can't leave that. You can't be conscious and have that doona if you're having trouble with the snoozing. You've got to just, like a Band-Aid.
Yep. Nice one.
Bad analogy. I jinxed myself.
There you go. We're even.
Now, that was the follow-up. Let's talk more exciting. Tell us all about the basketball game. So,
Oh, yeah. I
haven't watched it. I'm going to watch it tonight. But I was one of those ones. If Australia is playing and they're on a roll at the World Championships, you can't get through a day without hearing about it. So I was like, I'll be at peace with the result, but I will watch it tonight.
Yeah, and it's definitely worth going back to watch. So for those not keeping up with the FIBA World Cup that's going on right now, Australia is now 5-0 after a win last night against France. Although by the time you're listening to this, the quarterfinal will have played.
Yep.
Which is never good. So let's not say anything about that result or that situation. But last night, 10 p.m.
And to contextualise it, this is the best result in my entire lifetime. I've been watching basketball for a long, long time, and this is the best result.
We have never beaten two European teams in a row at a World Cup or an Olympics. We've never gone 5-0 to start a major international tournament. This is men's we're talking about now. It's the men's World Cup going on. But we are now 5-0. We've beaten Lithuania. We've beaten France. We've now got the Czech Republic on Wednesday night, which will be last night by the time you listen to this. And we if things keep going how they are, keep winning, we won't see America or Serbia until a potential grand final. So they're now on the other side of the pool because we beat France last night by 2 in what was a really intelligent and brilliant game of basketball. We were in foul trouble. Bogut fouled out. Delhi was on 4 fouls early in the third quarter. Mitch Krieg played some amazing minutes. Shout out to those Southwest Victorian boys from Horsham. I used to play against Mitch way back in under 16s, under 14s days. But yeah, just played some really hard, intelligent, big basketball. It was a fantastic game. It was. I watched it this morning so I could still get my sleep last night and watched it while I was doing a little bit of email and stuff. It was just incredible. Really good result.
And our guy Jock is doing great in his first tournament, so he's coming along and contributing as well, which is super exciting.
Started every game, hitting some big threes along with Bainesy. They're big fellas stepping out, which is nice.
Getting a few dunks here and there, and it's just great. It's super exciting. So hopefully they can just keep on this roll. The Olympics, and this has been building. Like Andre Lamanis has been doing a great job. The team chemistry you can just see is brilliant, and it's been building since the last Olympics because they were really getting good, and there was that sense of this could be the group, this could be the time.
Yeah, we got robbed. Not robbed. We were very unlucky to not win the bronze against Spain.
Yeah,
we were in that all game.
That was it, and it was just we had the big screen, we had the projector because it was on a Saturday morning. We knew everyone was going to watch it, so we said, okay, we're going to have the game up, and everyone stopped and watched it, and then we lost, and it was like somebody had died. Like I had to give a pep talk to the entire gym.
That was the semi against the Czech Republic, I believe it was.
Yeah.
Or I forgot, it was definitely a European team.
But I feel like it was Croatia.
Croatia, that's right. Yeah. Because then we had the Spain game. I watched that at Pete Cotteri's place around the corner the next day and was heartbroken again. Yeah. 2 games in a row.
But no, they're doing great. And so hopefully just roll on and get that best ever result. So super exciting.
It's been a good week of sport because Collingwood won as well. So, bring everyone back to baseline right there. You're just alienating everyone. The only thing we've all got in common is that everyone hates Collingwood except Collingwood people. That's all right. I'm fine. I'll sit on my side of the table. Let's get into today's topic. Okay, cool. Let's talk some stuff.
All right. So one of our coaches pointed out to me that we did an episode a while ago, 2016 it was, December 2016, and we talked about exercises we didn't like. And we talked about burpees, which we don't like, and
valid,
stand by that, and we'll dive into that again another time, but they're one of those ones where is the juice worth the squeeze? And the answer is usually no, unless you're in an international burpee doing competition, in which case...
unless you're a pro burpee doer.
Yeah, sure thing. And we talked about upright rows, which are a mortar and pestle for your shoulder. And then we talked about skipping, and we hammered it. Like I listened back to it this morning, and I was so embarrassed about... I mean, you evolve and you learn... You
constantly adapting,
but we went at it really hard because we thought there were better things. And I think it's really worth revisiting that because I would disagree. I would get into quite a fierce argument with old me and I'd smack him down pretty good, I reckon, on this one.
Old Norman Jacob were wrong. I haven't listened to it. Can you remind me what we ragged on skipping for?
The concern, so it was just like last week we were talking about the correctionists versus the anti-correctionists. Yep. I think it was an overreaction to the overuse of skipping by a lot of coaches, making kids do lots of skipping when they crap at it. And I think that was what I was reacting. And the idea, we do get too many stress fractures. That's a reality.
Particularly fifth metatarsal. Yep.
And so it was the idea that, you're constantly loading that forefoot in that exact same pattern might well be contributing to a stress in an athlete.
And a big thing you hear as well is people talk about skipping for vertical leap. That's not the quality. That's not what we're chasing right there. So people talk like, let's do lots and lots of skipping to improve your vertical leap.
And I think a little bit of it is going to improve your vertical leap a little bit, and it's beneficial. You're developing that ankle stiffness. But I think what we reacted to was the idea that it was the thing to do, and in saying that we went to
it was a magic pill. Magic exercise. Just get a rope and skip for 10 minutes and everything will fix itself.
Whereas now my perspective is it's a great thing that can be done well. And so it definitely comes out of the bad exercise category. Let's talk about what is it that you think's changed in our thinking around ankle stiffness and bounce in general? Yeah,
it's an athlete's authority concept they put up a little while ago, talking about, it's not their concept, but they sort of coined this term, is the idea of low amplitude plyometrics, which is the idea of learning as an athlete to be on your midfoot, to be light, to be springing, to use your calf Achilles complex, to take advantage of your stretch shortening cycle.
And we'd been doing that prior with all of our springy stuff as well.
And we've just been calling them springs, not skips. With skipping, it doesn't have to be on a rope. You can do skipping or springing type exercises anywhere with anything. It doesn't have to be with the rope. It's just that with the rope is a good way to also teach rhythm, which we'll get to in a second. But I think that idea of like learning how to be shorter with your contact time, be lighter on your midfoot and on the ball of your foot, and be bouncy and reactive transfers to so many skills across so many sports.
And it's such a low-hanging fruit. It's not that hard to teach, and you get tremendous bang for buck. So the juice is really, it's an easy to squeeze, and it's really worth it.
Because so many particularly team sport athletes and ball sport athletes don't spend much time working on their own body's mechanics. They're worried too much about team mechanics and ball mechanics.
Team structures and all the other
structures,
stuff.
X's and O's, shooting form, kicking form, all those things. They don't worry about, well, are you moving as optimally as you can? And one of those things when it comes to optimizing your movement is being able to be reactive and light and quick on your foot. So you see so many kids, they get to 14, 16 years old, and they've still got that sort of soggy heaviness on the ground.
And it's very hard to remedy that when I think it's one of those things that the sooner you can get a little bit of that in, massively beneficial, because it is hard to get that right later.
Yeah.
So low amplitude plyos, I think that's a great way to think about it. It's just getting the speed of the reaction, but minus the force in it, I suppose, is a simple way of
You're
saying
chasing moderate to low height, but very quick contact times. So we're not chasing maximum height with stiff knees and pogoing up. We're chasing pop, 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 that short, quick, reactive, elastic feel. And it should feel like if you do a slow, soggy spring or skip, it should feel heavy and yuck, versus a springy light one. You should feel like you could do it for days.
Do you know who's skipping the house down is Pat, one of our coaches. He was doing his training the other week, and I was like, wow. You're killing that. And it's just making it look really easy and getting that nice bounce. One of the things I think, one of the hardest things with skipping is getting good skipping ropes. So watch this space. We'll see what we come up with there. But I think it's just getting good ropes that actually make it easy, because the cheap ones, it's so difficult. And then it gets really discouraging as well.
Yeah, good skipping rope's got to be thin. It's got to have a good bearing in it, which is something that you don't think about much, but it's got to have a good bearing in the house so it can get around with good revolution to feed a good pattern through your legs. Because the second, I think, important component of why you would use a skipping rope and not just do skips on the ground is the rhythm and the coordination skill that it teaches your athletes as well. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I think the ability to rhythm and timing in sport is a hard thing to teach, and just teaching athletes to be smooth and to just get into kind of a groove with this stuff, I think that's really beneficial. Also, what happens is if it's very hard to maintain, I think there's a level of you need to be almost distracted a little bit from the fact, like if you just try doing skipping without a skipping rope, you just don't go for very long.
Yeah,
there's not I think there's a challenge. There's a challenge element that the rhythm requirement provides a challenge element that keeps you on task
in a positive way. It also gives you the feedback of good ones and bad ones. So if you fail and you're a little slow or a little late on your timing and you don't match that same cadence, then you're going to get hit on the toes.
Yeah, so you just have to get the same cadence. Yeah, and that'll keep you ticking along nicely.
Definitely.
What do you think the other thing? So we talked in the thing about we talked in the episode about how you're actually much better off just doing agility hops, doing the lateral stuff. I think you should definitely you should not rule out doing skipping as a helpful thing for getting that bounce. What about other things in terms of bounces with directions and stuff?
Before we go there, can we just talk quickly about programming for your skipping? I think it's one thing that's often programmed as a conditioning exercise, but should, like in the 60-second plus type range. But really, for most athletes, maybe outside boxing, it really should be programmed for short, explosive sets. So 15 seconds where you get 60-odd contacts in.
So boxing, wrestling, like any of those combat-y sports where you're having to bounce around.
Karate, combative karate, yep. Judo, martial arts.
Mixed martial arts, any really all the fighting sports. Are there any other ones where you would use it from a conditioning point of view?
Can't really think of any. It's just one of those things where it's like, well, there's better options. If you're a basketball or football player, soccer player, you should do running and small-sided games for your conditioning. Like skipping is going to hit such a narrow, specific thing when you could be out there scrimmaging and getting match play in at the same time as you're getting conditioning in, or you could just be running hard.
So you want to be fit enough at skipping that you can do the skipping well enough to get the plyometric benefit.
But I think like 30 seconds.
Yeah,
is that level, is like the baseline for that. So I think with your programming for your skipping, probably more like in the 10 to 15 to 20 second type range.
Do you think you're going to have enough time for rhythm in?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, I still think, well, especially once you get good, maybe so this is the thing, I suppose I'm talking now about programming from a speed and power point of view. Whereas if you're programming it from a motor learning point of view, just in the same way when you're teaching someone to squat, you'll do higher reps as opposed to your strength work, you're going to get into lower reps.
That's what I was thinking.
When you're teaching it, when you're first learning to skip a rope, then you might go a little longer, you might do more sets, you might do them a little slower.
You might go 60 seconds on, 120 seconds off even.
And superset it with something else, So you teach, you do a bit of skipping and then you do a little bit less. The problem though with maybe doing 60 seconds for your teaching is fatigue. If your kids aren't very springy or if your athletes aren't very springy and then you try and get them to do 60 seconds of being springy, they'll probably fall apart.
You probably build up a bit slow. Because it's a weird, I think in some ways one of the other reasons that we objected to skipping a little bit was that it's kind of the opposite of poka-yoke. You know, poka-yoke is that idea of an idiot-proof. So it's a Japanese automotive.
Go back a step.
Yeah, okay. So my wife works in automotive engineering, and there's a wonderful term called poka-yoke, which is a Japanese automotive engineering term.
Made famous by Toyota?
Toyota, yeah. So it's really interesting, the backstory. So Toyota went, and it was actually originally started by Americans, and then the Toyota guys just took it and ran with it. But it's a big part of their quality control, and they have excellent quality control. And so the idea is if you are designing a panel to go on the right-hand side of the car, you'll fit a little nodule on that panel that prevents you from accidentally putting it on the left side. So it's next level idiot proofing.
Yeah, so you physically can't get it wrong.
Even if you were trying to do it wrong, you just couldn't.
It wouldn't fit. Yeah.
And so it's a great manufacturing technique. And I've always been a bit inspired by that. Of what are the exercises that we could do that are kind of poka-yoke, where you've got a 14-year-old boy or a 16-year-old boy or an 18-year-old boy or whatever, or a girl, not quite paying attention, but you can still get a great result. That always seemed like a really good sort of modification you could make to exercises. And so one of the things with skipping is it's not poka-yoke because there's about 6 different ways you can get it wrong.
Yeah, you can do it in a way that you take an exercise that is in certain contexts positive and good for you, and make it the direct opposite.
You can go pigeon toes with it. You can get your timing out.
You can be soggy. All kinds of stuff.
And one of the big ones I reckon is you can overcook the exposure to unaccustomed eccentric force in the calf. Because one of my reactions again was quite common that athletes would come in and say, "Oh, coach made us do skipping. My calves have been sore for 4 days. I'm really, really tight." And so I think it's that idea of you've got to dial up the exposure to the forces a little bit slower.
Yeah, just like your acute to chronic workload ratio with anything, skipping falls into that bucket. If you haven't done repetitive, continuous midfoot bounces with your calf Achilles complex, then it's going to be unconditioned to that exact exposure.
Yeah.
So you should work your way up gently.
Yeah, and so I think your thing of a less is more approach to the start stands. Even though you might get a better motor learning effect by trying to cram a little more in, you've also got to be cognizant of that adaptive. You've got to allow time for that tissue adaptation to happen.
Yeah, so this conversation's kind of come all the way around. I still stand by my 10, 15, 20 seconds.
I think you're right.
Yeah. Even if you're learning or if you're a pro. And if you're a pro, you just get more reps in that time.
But what you might do is you might do your 10 to 15 seconds first couple of workouts, establish a little bit of an adaptation, then gradually push it out. So there's that kind of dipping your toe in the water, getting started, and then to try and build mastery, I still suspect a few more reps as you're building into it.
But this then segues back to what your point was before we started talking programming, is do you then just progress onto something trickier? Because skipping is kind of limited by how fast you can turn the rope, and it's not supposed to be chasing intensity here. We're chasing rhythm, coordination, and contact time.
Maybe just people should just do what they think, what suits them. Some people are going to need a little more, some a little less, but I think in general a less is more approach. So they get the quality in, and they're allowing time for the adaptation.
Because I think your skipping comes as part of a well-rounded plyometrics program. It's not just, all right, this month is only skipping. It's like, yeah, do 2 or 3 sets of skipping as part of your plyometric warm-up or your plyometric phase of your training.
One of the things that was really apparent to us when we visited Athletes Authority was they spent quite a bit of time on their general ankle bounce. And the more I thought about it, it's like, that's actually a really good, so they did a bit of skipping, they did other stuff, and you watched it, we watched a night in the gym, And there was the pie chart had a fair bit of time. The movement skill pie chart, a fair bit of that was that bounce.
A lot of ankle stiffness and that sort of idea of short contact time, yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's really smart because it's a low-hanging fruit. Like it's an area where you're just going to get so much results out of that time. It's really cool. And it's a low-hanging fruit that is in its own way kind of pokey. I'm not saying the skipping particularly, but just in general, the low amplitude plyo approach, because you're not stressing out knees. It's actually kind of pokey-okey. It's pretty straightforward to do, and you're going to get some pretty good results.
So you mentioned in there before we got a little sidetrack talking about seconds. We're talking about lateral type quickness and contact times in 3 dimensions outside of just the skipping. So skipping rope's great starting place. It's good, but I don't think it's the only thing you should do for your foot speed and your calf stiffness. Where should we go next?
I think probably it's agility hops.
Yep.
I love the agility hops. So think of you've got a square laid out on the floor.
Where did they start? Did you invent them? Did you steal the routine from someone?
No, they are called Frappier footwork patterns. Was the original name for them? Frappier. Yeah, Frappier, I think. And I was first exposed to them around 2005, and I really liked them. And
is Frappier the name of the coach?
I think it's the name of the coach.
Yep.
And Chantella Pereira, who's now, shout out to Chantella, she's now playing AFL or VFL for Hawthorn. And she was a basketballer who at that point was part of our Australian Sapphires under-21 national team. And she had been playing around with them a bit when she was at Fresno State. I talked to her about them and she found them they really helped. And we incorporated them part of the Warm-Up 2.0 idea for the Aussie under-21 team. And so I got
it's still in there now today.
Yeah. And so I got a lot of practice teaching it and just found it was pretty easy to teach and we got great results. And I think it was a very important ingredient in the anti-ankle rolling thing because you're actually getting great proprioception, great bounce, and you're getting the perineals fired up, which is kind of the anti-ankle rolling muscle. And tib ant as well.
I'm writing my first show note today. We've got an anti-ankle sprain blog. I'll link that. Which has got
blog or vlog?
Both. It's got both. It's got the video for.
I think it's one of your top 5 vlogs of all time. Is that little?
It's one of my favourites. Yeah, for sure.
It's really good. Yeah. So that'll be a really good one to have a look at. Yep. So I think the benefits of that, the agility benefits of that are huge.
So you were going before we went to the origins, you were going to explain
how to do it.
Yeah. Is it only one pattern, or does he have multiple patterns?
Do you know? I don't know. I just know the ones that I use.
Just the one you like.
Yeah, which was imagine you have a cross laid out in front of you. You know, four squares, and you're starting at say bottom left, and you're going to go clockwise all the way around
in a box,
and then counterclockwise, and then double diagonal to the right, double diagonal to the left. And then if you're really good at it, you then transition seamlessly into a single leg repetition of that, and then you transition into another single leg.
Yes, you go continuously double leg, single leg, and then other single leg.
Yeah,
and it looks really pretty when you get it right.
It looks cool and it's fast, and I think it's maybe significantly better for the average athlete than the ladder work. I think you're getting stability benefit. You're getting a fair bit of what you get out of skipping. A fair bit of what you get out of agility ladder, but you're also getting anti-ankle rolling. It's a good one. It's a good bang for buck.
And because it's 360 degrees, so you're hitting the perineals, you're hitting the calf, the tib post, tib ant, all these muscles of the ankle in every direction. You're jumping forward, you're jumping backwards, left, right, on the angles, and at speed and with rhythm. So you really have to work hard.
Troubleshooting on it, the common mistakes, people will try and often be a little pigeon-toed when they do it. The other one is that people will point their toes in the direction they're going. So
they turn everything into a straight jump.
Yeah. So you got to keep pointing straight forwards and keeping everything lined up nicely. And the other one is that they will jump too high, and it'll be kind of a pogo-y sort of effect.
A kind of float.
So what you want is you want to think it's about lateral. It's about sliding a credit card under your heel. Nothing too high. And because also if you right up on your toes, you've got less contact surface area, you actually can't put that lateral force into the ground. And so you're ending up, it's just what you create if you're too on your toes, is it becomes kind of skipping but in different places. You're not getting that lateral quickness.
Because I suppose if if skipping is really about foot speed and rhythm, the agility hops are really that sort of transition between that and also getting some change of direction, some multi-direction movement, which is moving us from quickness into change of direction, which is more about full contact ground ground contact, so we can get maximum traction and grip on the ground.
As we're talking, I've realised that the agility hop name is actually a poor name because it's not technically hopping, is it?
Because hop is to go from right leg to right leg, single leg to single leg, So it's actually a jump.
Yeah, almost lateral skipping or
it's a multi-direction jump.
Yeah.
Well, a skip is technically not skipping because a skip is technically a double contact on one leg.
It's a can of worms.
It's a whole
I think
terminology
we'll leave it where it is.
I would actually like to dig a little deeper into this quickness because we now opened up a whole quickness conversation here about foot speed. You mentioned agility ladders. It'd be rude not to also talk about ladders in the same conversation we talk about skipping ropes because we were wrong about skipping ropes.
Yep.
And we had foo-fooed them very early on and we were wrong. And we now can't wait to get some more skipping ropes and start using that a little more with our athletes. One thing that we've never foo-fooed that a lot of the rest of the community has is the agility ladder, poorly named yet again.
I've foo-fooed it a bit because I think it should be called a foot speed ladder.
Yeah, well, the name is horrible.
Yeah. The thing is with the people hate it. It's that religious thing where it's like, you should never do that. But why can't we do a pinch? A pinch of it is going to be really quite valuable, but it's just that people get so carried away with it and they go and they do an agility ladder workout. It's if you're using the agility ladder for more than 4 minutes,
that's 4 to 5 the top of your range. I reckon.
It's the top of your range. Yeah, it should be just a couple of minutes, get a bit of work in, and then get on with the rest of your stuff. But it is valuable because you're going to get that ability to pick the feet up. You get that nice midfoot strike. It's going to support what you're trying to do with the skipping, what you're trying to do with the agility hops. It's useful, but just in its place.
But here's the thing, though. If you're going to go skipping and then agility hops or jumps or lateral skips or whatever we want to call them, and then ladder all in the same workout, you've now massively overfilled your foot speed bucket.
Yeah.
You need to be doing maybe one, maybe two of these things, not all of them.
So maybe you would do the skipping and the agility hops on one day, and then you might do some more springy, bouncy without a skipping rope, plus
maybe some bounding or something like that. Yeah, something more for distance and height.
We talked,
but also you can do them in the same week, or you can rotate through them.
Yeah.
So you can have a phase where you do some skipping, and then you take that skipping into some more intricate ladder patterns, and it's like
The big thing is not to overspend. I think not to overcommit. In the old episode, we had a good analogy, which was that
was it mine?
No.
It's always worth asking.
I'd have told you. The analogy I made was that if you have a $10 hamburger and you pay $100 for that hamburger, you have overpaid by $90. And you just it's just the same thing. Like the hamburger's not going to taste any better, or it might taste a little bit because it's placebo, but really it's not going to taste any better.
Refer back to the last episode.
But it's like that with your exercise. Like if you're spending too much time on a thing, it's like, we've already got the quality, we've overspent time on that. Let's get on to other qualities we haven't addressed.
And that's a bit of a product of Instagram. You see someone doing 30 different very complex things on an agility ladder and you're like, I want to do all of those. Like, no, pick the one that you're good at, pick one you want to work on and do those two.
The Instagram arms race, because it's an arms race of, so in the Cold War era, you had Russia versus America, which you've got at the moment again, kind of, except that just America doesn't know that Russia's against them. America does, Trump doesn't.
America's too busy with China.
That's the whole thing. And it was an arms race, so we're just constantly building more and more nuclear arms.
You've got 10, well, we've got 12.
And all you end up with mutually assured destruction, which ironically led to the longest peaceful period in the history of civilization, because everyone was like, well, we can't start anything because it'll all end nuclear. And there's a bit of an arms race on Instagram where it's just you have to do the coolest looking thing. And so, you have to do 30 variations of it or it doesn't count.
I'd never thought of it that way. That's such a clever way of, like, everyone's rushing to do the sexiest, coolest new thing. I've never thought of it as like an arms race. It's like, everyone's just fighting for mutually assured destruction. And what you're doing is everyone's just getting subpar results for their athletes who are busy doing these dance moves.
Yeah. So it's that thing of just finding those fundamentals and just do them brutally, as we said again and again, do them brutally well.
And rotate in some of the fun stuff. Like this doesn't, fundamentals isn't a synonym for boring. Like rotate in some ladder, rotate in some skipping rope, some coordination type things, some agility, some chaotic agility work, but it doesn't have to all be that or all be boring.
Do you know, it sounds like spruiking, and it probably is a little bit. But
Our show, I think we can spruik if we like.
I am super happy with the way our programming is going at the moment. I feel like the coaches are really nailing that balance between the repetition for mastery, but also innovative ways to get at qualities and without kind of overspending on them. It's just a pinch here, a pinch there. And so the workouts are dynamic and exciting and varied, but they're still getting that repetition in that actually creates that improvement.
Yeah, the stuff that is the foundation for excellence. I think we can spruik it because you and I are doing a total of zero?
Yeah, zero.
Zero programs, yeah.
I am. I'm looking at a lot of programs. I'm
watching and setting some numbers and having conversations, but
talking about programming
in a broad sense.
I'm probably still a little more because for those of you that don't know, that Jacob's been very on mission with developing the online mentorship and some other things that we'll have more news about in the future.
Very shortly, yeah. A lot more online digital type stuff this year.
Yeah, and it's been more my job to continue to mentor the coaches, run the business, and make sure everything's going well. And so I'm doing a little bit of programming consulting with the coaches. So I'll talk about what they're doing, but
like the boundary rider commentator of a football game.
Yeah,
they're there. They say something every now and again, but they're not really.
Yeah. But the guys are just smashing it. It's really good. Anything else?
That's a whole bunch of stuff about skipping and foot speed.
So to wrap it up.
Yeah, let's bring it back together.
So the quality of bounce is hard to build. That some people just have that beautiful elastic bounce off the ground. And some people say, oh, you can't really change it. It is what it is. I disagree with those people. That's not true. You can change it, but it is hard to change. So if you can get a little bit, it's a very worthwhile change to just get a little bit of that stuff in and improve people's vertical a little, their spring off the ground, and just their feel of athleticism.
I think if we've still got some World Cup left, watch some Paddy Mills.
He's got some bounce.
The way he bounces and the way he moves with speed and quickness and agility he's one of my favourites to watch. I'm a little biased. He's one of my favourite players, but the way he moves just epitomises bounce.
Pretty sure he's the all-time AIS record holder for agility as well.
He was last time we talked about this, I reckon, a while ago when we talked about agility.
Yeah, pretty cool. All right, show notes. What are we going to have for the guys?
I've just got the ankle sprain one, but I'm sure there's others. We've got a video where we talk about double leg springs. I'll include that as well. The three drills for.
Oh, the music I like.
Yeah, the funky song from way back.
Yeah.
That's a YouTube one. I'll link that one. And then there's the ankle sprain workout, which has the Frappier with an R.
Yeah. Okay.
Frappier. Say it again.
Frappier footwork patterns.
Thank you. 3 drills for speed. Yeah. Cool. But yeah, and then skipping. Don't be afraid of it like we were.
We were idiots.
We were a little wrong. Great tool when used appropriately, like everything else.
You know what? One last thing is what I in particular fell guilty of there was doing that thing we were talking about just last week of having an emotional reaction to an overuse of a thing and then throwing the baby out with the bathwater. So good thing to bear in mind.
Nice. And thank you for people like Pat who he brought to our attention like, why do you guys not like skipping? Like, well, we just hadn't thought about it in a while.
I thought about it the wrong way and we hadn't thought about it. So yeah, good job.
Awesome.
All right. Cheers, guys. See ya. And before you go, hear from our alumni about the online mentorship.
I learnt the theory stuff at uni, but I didn't know how to apply it. And coming to Core Advantage was how I bridged that gap. So I knew the stuff, but I didn't know how to do the stuff.
It was something that I needed to do personally for my own development, and it's allowed me to work in elite sport for now 5 years. So it was a massive help.
I think mentorship is really important and being able to ask questions all the time, and the Core Advantage course allows that because there is a big team of people that you can ask questions.
I get to train professional athletes every week, work really closely with professional athletes, which is awesome. A lot of the skills that I'm applying I learned through the program at Core Advantage.
It's not just something that you read and then think about and then go, oh, how does that tie into everything? It's something practical that you can turn around and go, this is exactly how I'm going to apply it. And the concepts that you learn help you as a coach, as a professional, as a person. Yeah, it's awesome. Definitely go and do it.
Semester 3 of the mentorship is now open. Apply at coreadvantage.training/mentorship.